Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the latest chapter review for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. No breaking eardrums today or for the foreseeable future, as most of you know from the previous review. Not exactly in the mood. 2024 is certainly not my year, but outside of that, let's just talk about this chapter. This chapter is quite good. One little problem at the beginning, which I tried to sort of subtly say, okay, timing-wise, this makes no sense, but we can argue that it's not directly stated. No, it kind of is. It kind of is in this chapter. And what am I talking about? Well, this chapter, we're going to get to the main part, which is Hawk and Yona immediately. I like that they're wasting no time. We take a few pages where they're racing forward. They realize a storm is brewing. The clouds are still dark. It's the middle of the day, whatever. And it's like, it's still dark outside. Like, what's going on? Like, this is a bad omen. And they reach the mausoleum. They reach the shrine. And Hawk and Yona do confront Zeno. Okay, two problems so far. One might be explained. Two is sort of screwed. Okay, so let's go with number two first, because that's easy. When Hawk and Yona run up to meet up with Zeno in the mausoleum, they immediately encounter one of the guard. Like, has Zeno been by here? Yes, the yellow dragon went in by himself and stuff. So you're telling me it's the same guard, meaning it's the same day, same night. I'm not convinced on horse that Hawk and Yona managed to traverse half a country as fast as Zeno was able to fly. I'm just not convinced that this guy, even if he was on a 12-hour shift, that they managed to make up that time. Like, that's a little much for me, considering their position where they were, at the very least on the border. They weren't even in the Koka Kingdom at the time, and managed to make it all the way back to the center of the kingdom. Little bit of a stretch for me, and right here kind of confirmed. Or ironically, yeah, like the line isn't like Yellow Dragon, like, oh yeah, the guy who relieved me said that the Yellow Dragon went in but never came back out, or something like that. Like, easily could have just changed this line to make it sound like, okay, Hawk and Yona did take a few days, unfortunately, because we saw them camping and her dreaming and Hawk continuing on the road and stuff like that. Hours and hours did pass, if not days. So yeah, so problem number two is definitely there. But once again, that's more geographical location. We're into the final arc by the sounds of it from the manga's Twitter's feeds and all that, or X, whatever. So we're just trying to hurry the pace along, and we're not too concerned with that, because realistically, does that matter? Not really. It just bothers me. So I'm built that way. Anyways, problem number one, though, is still not a problem yet, but just like that one, problem number two, I'm going to bring it up here before we get on with the rest of the review in the chapter, is remember when Zeno, he did all this stuff and he was thrown back by his actual yellow spirit self and blah, 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 and he looked down and he was shocked to see something on the ground, whether it was the cup, the souls of the dragons, the sword, he was still bleeding, whatever, but he looked at something and he had this shocked look on his face. What was it? What was it? We have no idea, because nothing seems to be different. He's still got the thing. He's still adamant about what he's doing. The dragon, the other three dragons are clearly still locked away in the chalice. So maybe this will be explained later in the next couple of chapters, and we're just not revealing it yet. So I hold out hope. But if that was just built for dramatic tension and led nowhere, you kind of can't do that. Even telenovelas and soap operas and stuff like that, what they do for the dramatic effect, which shoujo is very much, in my opinion, the telenovelas of the Eastern culture in that regard. You know what I mean? They're the very high-strung, very big facial expression, big dun-dun-dun moments all the time. And they are geared more towards female audience, so it all ends up, but every time something big happens, it's always that deer in the headlights look in soap operas and stuff, right? But it's always because somebody just dropped a bomb. I'm moving back to Australia. Or, I'm the one who shot him. Something like that. I'm pregnant. Whatever. And then it's ta-ta, and everybody, you get that reaction shot, right? The problem here is that more and more I'm noticing in Yona, we're getting big reaction shots to things that we're not seeing off screen and end up going nowhere. This isn't the first time in this arc, so I'm just hoping that something does happen with that. Like, Zeno noticed something, even if we see it in a monologue flashback of himself, something he realized at the time, or just something in the subsequent chapters. Anyways, those are the two problems leading up to, I think we're on about page like 7 or 8, when Hawk and Yona actually enter the mausoleum, and they're here with Zeno, and Zeno looks up, and he's got these dead eyes and all that stuff, right? And they're like, oh, thank goodness, you're... a lot of people also mentioned, I did read up, because I already read the chapter, obviously, I did read up what people were saying when the chapter dropped a couple days ago, and people were like, the term, Zeno, you're still alive, thank goodness, kind of a bit of, how did somebody put it in the Yona Discord? Somebody basically said, oh yeah, it was a bit of a slap in the face sort of idea, realistically, Yona knowing his plan, you know what I mean? Knowing that plan right out of the gate is like, oh, thank goodness. Oh, I know you want to commit suicide, but thank God you suck at it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way that line reads to some people. And my first time reading it, I didn't take it that way, but I immediately, when he soaked in blood and all this stuff, like, yeah, Yona, that might be a translation thing, but that was a little bit, yeah, reading it again, yeah, to be a little blunt. So anyways, they continue on and stuff, and Zeno responds. Zeno's not completely like, he's resigned himself, but he is still responding. He's not like, completely shut down. He's like, we already said our goodbyes, like our farewells and stuff, and stuff like that. And Yona remarks like, I didn't say I wanted this. I didn't agree to that was our final goodbye and stuff. And I sort of, once again, I feel that right now more than anything, because what's going on with, me and in my marriage and stuff like that, or lack thereof these days, is the same exact sentiment. Like, you agreed to do this all on your own. You didn't consult me. You made a decision and said, that's it. And what Yona is saying right now, I'm feeling that 100% more so because of what's, my personal life. And it's just like, I never said I wanted this. I never agreed to this. You went and decided this all on your own. You didn't want to work through it. You didn't want to discuss it. You don't want to talk more about it. Try to come to some type of compromise, whether for better or for worse. No, it was Zeno made a decision and said, nothing you say is going to affect my choice, and I'm just going to go off. You know what I mean? And do my own thing. And it's like, all right, well, Zeno, we love you, you love us, maybe we can help you, like, maybe we can solve this together, maybe we can figure out an alternative method. Nope. Totally convinced that he's right, you know what I mean? And as we found out, even the gods themselves, the dragon gods, are basically saying, no. And now Zeno's even more depressed, right? So, and Yona says, I wanted to see you no matter what. Like, I don't care how you feel and stuff like that. So I'm definitely feeling Yona's side of things right now. For the worst of reasons, but I'm definitely, what's the word? Not emulating. I'm resonating with that sentiment for sure. And Zeno's still got that dead-eyed look in his face, and like he's resigned himself, and he's like, but then he admits immediately, like, I wanted to see the little miss too. And I like that he's still using the nicknames that he came up with, which I believe I brought this up before, and it wasn't my original theory, but somebody brought up, or was it stated in the manga itself? I'm pretty sure someone came up with this, but I've agreed with it ever since, is that he doesn't use people's names, the Mr., the Little Miss, and stuff like that, to create a wall and leave a level of detachment so that he doesn't get too attached. He gives them, yes, to us, very cute nicknames, but he gives them these names so that he, can just brush off and not remember their specific names, so their faces don't come to his mind. So, you know what I mean? Like, it looks endearing on the surface, but potentially he did this so he wouldn't get too attached. She's little and she's a miss. He's tall and big and the protector. He's the Mister, right? The Miss and the Mister. You know what I mean? Like, just sort of this. I'm an employee. I'm a servant. I'm not friends with, as the butler of the household almost. You know what I mean? Like, so I sorta do get that disconnection and stuff, and I've always agreed with that ever since I heard it. I don't think I came up with that. I think I read that somewhere. And anyway, yeah. So, but it's still nice, even if that's true. It's still nice that he's not referring to her as Yona, but still Little Miss. And Yona immediately says, like, did you actually want to see me? And he goes, no, I didn't actually want to see you. He's like, well, which is it? And he stands up, he's got the sword in hand, and he says, both. He wants to see her, he doesn't want to see her, because he knows what he has to, clearly at this point he's come to a different conclusion. He knows what he has to do, but he doesn't want to do it, is the way that I'm taking it. How did all you guys and gals, how did you all take that meaning? That's the way I took it, is that he knows he has to attack them, he knows he has to push her, he knows that maybe she can be the one, like Hiryu. Maybe that's what he figured out, that she can kill him because she has the red dragon blood. Like, maybe she'd be able to do it if she actually slays him. And so he does want that, but he doesn't want to hurt her in the process and stuff, so it's one of those. That's the way I'm taking it, considering the way the chapter goes. So he continues to say, like, you came to stop me, didn't you? I have no intention of stopping, so there's no choice but to fight. And says, and, you know, Yona still pleads with him, like, you're wrong, there's no way I can fight you, I want to search for another solution together and stuff. Once again, I'm right on board with Yona right here. You have one party, you have two people that supposedly love each other, have companionship, have a level of friendship and trust and honesty and communication, and one person has decided all on their own to completely just sever those ties with very little. There's room to discuss. There's a gray area in between. No, to them, it's black and white, and it's a done deal. No matter what happens, and it's such a shock for the person on the receiving end, going, like, I wasn't prepared for this. This isn't amicable. What can we do? Maybe we can solve this. Maybe we can fix it, you know, in some way, shape, or form. But Zeno's just not here to hear it, right? And so Zeno lashes out and said, there is no such solution. And Zeno immediately lifts the sword and tries to swing, and he just can't. He goes, oops, like, he staggers, and he goes, the damn thing's pretty heavy, right? And they're sort of shocked by this. So it's like, is his mortal body coming back? Like, he's still, like, it looks like they're bloodstained clothes, but I wonder if his wounds haven't actually fully healed yet or something. Because Zeno hasn't zapped the power yet, because he's not dying. But he says it's too heavy. White, blue, and green dragon will reach the end of their lifespans anytime in the near future inside of the chalice. Just like the mist said before, the three dragons aren't completely dead, but their fate is now up to me. He brings out the seal, and he says, will you try to steal this from me? The chalice of blood from me. And you might get a chance. The white and other ones will come back if you do. So he basically taunts them, because he wants, you know, he wants to fight. And he basically states, and I felt like some of these pages might have been out of order, not 100%, just the way it tracks, but it doesn't screw up exactly what's going on. He's basically like, I have the chalice, which we do not actually see on any page. We don't actually see the chalice. So I'm wondering if he lied about, I wonder if the chalice has actually disappeared, because I don't see the chalice in any of these shots. Did anybody else notice that? I didn't actually see the chalice, and maybe that's the reaction thing that Zeno saw. That Zeno actually noticed that the chalice was now gone, that has the three dragon souls. He claims the chalice is with him. He shows them the seal and says, if you take these from me, if you defeat me and you take these from me, you might be able to save them nonetheless, you know, sort of idea, right? So then he goes forward, and he's attacking and stuff like that, right? And he tries to swing at, once again, this is why I feel it's out of order. He tries to swing, of course. Hawk is just dodging it very easily, and he grabs Zeno by the sword hand and stuff, right? And Zeno continues like, what happened to, you know, where's your halberd? Where's your weapon and stuff? And Hawk said, I had my head full looking for you, like I've been messed up and stuff, and I forgot it in the city. And Zeno remarks like, you don't need it? You don't need to protect the little miss right now? And he's like, no, I don't need it. And Zeno thinks that this is because you think you can defeat me without it. And Hawk says, no, I know there's no way you would actually hurt Yona. You're not going to hurt the princess. There's no way I would use my weapon against you either. You know, sort of idea. And this sort of gives Zeno a little bit of bump, you know, a little bit of pause and stuff like that. Because Hawk's like, no, I didn't think I would need it down here because I'm not fighting an enemy. I'm fighting a friend. You know what I mean? So from Hawk's perspective, he's like, you're not ever going to seriously tried to kill Yona. I know that in my heart of hearts. I know that. So, regardless what your words say and your actions have done, I don't actually need to do any of this. You might attack me, sort of idea, but I'm not going to raise my weapon to you, and, you're not actually going to hurt Yona. And so Zeno gets sort of ticked off, and then he takes the sword away, and he says, this is getting us nowhere. He drops the sword, which, by the way, what I don't like about this, I know it's just an artistic thing, but you know how the sword hilt has, like, the snake, as part of the handle, it has, like, the snake wrapped around it. In certain shots, they don't showcase it, and that kind of bothers me, because I'm like, oh, is that a different sword? So yeah, but anyways, so this is when Zeno drops the sword and just says screw it, because he's wobbling and stuff, and he's certainly not going to be able to defeat Hawk on his best day, and just straight up hand-to-hand combat. He'd have to tire the fuck out of Hawk. Zeno realizes that Hawk is too good a fighter, versus him, especially in his current state. So he's like, this form's no good. He transforms immediately into the dragon form. It's huge, it's monstrous, it's a beautiful double spread shot where he transforms, breaks through the mausoleum, breaks the entire shrine, and he goes forth, right? And now the guard that was guarding, the remains of Hiryu Castle, he notices and stuns. He's like, what the hell? So, once again, I'm going to assume that other people are going to show up, and that's going to be the drive. I'm really concerned about this, is that Yona is going to have to do something, hurt Zeno, to force him to stop, because he might not be able to actually hurt Yona, but casualties are not out of the equation. Zeno has killed dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of people in his day. Whether he was right or wrong to do that, he still did it, right? So, so that's the problem where the guards saw that the dragon came alive. So now this is where Hawk and Yona, he's determined to shrug us off and stuff, hey? So he pushes Yona out of the way, and once again, he's willing to hurt Hawk. As I said, I knew he was willing to hurt Hawk. Don't think he's willing really to kill him, but he's willing to hurt Hawk. So he slams his dragon, arm, hand thingy, claw down on him and stuff like that, and he starts to push and stuff. And I was like, Zeno, stop. And Zeno raises his claw up again, and then goes down to try to smack it again. He's like raising it up, and I'm gonna slam him again. And Hawk's like, what? Nope. And he's like, oh man, this is tough and stuff like that. But this is where Hawk mentions, hey, this is reminding me of the white snake's claw and stuff. Big claw like this takes me back. I would never use my, weapon against you. However, if it's a fight you want, I'll fight you all goddamn day, sort of idea. There's no hard feelings since you're so strong, right? And then he slams his kick straight up in the air, slams a kick, very Green Dragon, very jae-ha style. And Hawk's like, all right. And he goes, I'll beat the crap out of you until you're satisfied. Hawk's like, I won't take this line down either. I said, you want to fight? He's like, I'm not going to kill you, but you want to fight? Let's go. So they decide to sort of start duking it out, and Hawk, of course, being very martial artist-like, this is going to work out, I think, pretty well for him, even against a dragon of all things. I mean, he's Hawk. He's the Thunder Beast. So now this is where he sort of reminisces. He goes, I wonder if those guys would come out, and I was sort of hoping they would, like, this is too much even for them. They'd burst out of wherever the damn chalice is. Once again, haven't seen it, wonder if that's what the thing was, but Hawk mentions, like, would those guys, come out and stop us from fighting if they knew what was happening right now? Would they fly out of that chalice and come and punch me in the face? He said, you can punch, kick, paralyze me all you want. Just come out already, you hungry bastards. You know what I mean? So he's once again wishing for, and each one. You can punch, White Snake. You can, kick, Green Dragon. And you can paralyze, of course, Shin-ah. You can, do whatever you want if you guys would just come back. And I love how he calls them, you hungry bastards, as in the Happy Hungry Bunch. I don't think anybody's going to miss that remark. That's why he calls them hungry bastards, But, yeah, he's just like, guys, we're in and over our head here. We need your help. Like Zeno's, we've lost you. Zeno's gone a little cuckoo in the head right now. And it'd be really helpful if you guys were here to lend me a hand right now, you know what I mean? So he's like, would you just come back already, sort of idea. Like, he's sick and tired of this shit. And Zeno and Yona both recognize the words. They both pause, and they're listening to him. And then Hawk says, Zeno, I'm really sorry for you and all that stuff. Like, I really do. But I suck at forgetting, and I suck at letting go. And just like I resonated with Yona, almost even more so with this line, it's what I tried to explain in my own life. I'm like, I can't do it. You know, I can't let go. I'm not built that way. I've never been built that way. So once again, resonating with Hawk and Yona in this chapter. Maybe that's why I rate the chapter so highly. As I said, the only problems with it were before we even started the conversation. So the bulk of the chapter, the majority of the chapter, has no real problems, and I tried to look at it from try to look at it logically, analytically, you know, try to keep my own heart on my sleeve and feelings, at bay and in check, and look at it like that. And I still think that this chapter was handled incredibly well. I still think the way, the direction, the translations and stuff, I think they work out extremely well, actually. So, anyways, yeah, so that's when Zeno says, alright, well, I'm just going to keep attacking and stuff. And, Hawk's taking a beating. Of course, he's fighting a goddamn dragon, a 2,000-year-old dragon. But still, he's doing his stuff. Now, Yona's concerned now because she notices something, that Hawk has reached his limit if he fights any longer. That's what Yona, I'm imagining, Zeno has said this in Yona's mind. And I think it's consciously has said this. Hawk has reached his limit if he fights any longer. That's when she questions and goes, Zeno? And then Zeno has transformed back into his human form. And Yona's shocked to see him like that. And he goes, and now she's freaking out. She goes, it's coming. Now she thinks for some reason, funnily enough, that she's remarking on the dream. The vision. Once again, the vision stuff. But the vision. It's exactly like in that dream. Except that it's kinda not, because let's notice some clothing problems here. Let's notice a few differences, and immediately, once again, they're subtle, but no, this is not it. But either way, Yona's taking these visions incredibly seriously and stuff. Now, it's the Zeno of that dream and stuff like that, right? And once again, there's some subtle differences that mean that this is not the case. And even so Yona does pick up the sword Yona picks up the sword as Zeno goes in for the kill, and then Ching, and she's got now Hiryu's sword, and she's blocked Zeno's strike. And that's all we get there. It says, with that sword, she resists against fate. Now, that's the end of the chapter, and as I said, I really did like, even outside of my own, my own feelings towards, the chapter and recognizing, from A to B sort of idea. One thing I want to say is that I really do not like if they're going to do this whole fate can be changed shit. I brought this up in that absolutely hated chapter when we found out all about the visions and all about Yona has visions. And now we're putting faith in that the visions cannot be stopped, cannot be controlled, cannot be changed, cannot be fixed. The future is set. That is what this entire story, with every vision ever coming true and no one ever changing it a tiny, tiny bit, a butterfly the butterfly effect sort of idea, that has been established. Multiple visions, multiple things, multiple crap. And now, this is the issue. Is now, if they change fate, it means every character beforehand was an idiot. Because they didn't even try. Her mother is one of the worst. I'm going to stand on the sidelines and not even attempt because I don't believe that I can do anything about it. The fact, one of the best writings when you do future vision stuff, one of the best ways to do this, to handle that, is if you make a story where the future cannot be changed and you allow future sight in those stories, is that you have a character trying desperately to change fate and yet failed. And then it's a tragedy story. Then it's like they tried their best, that poor son of a bitch, that poor bastard, tried their damnedest to fix everything and ended up causing the vision to come true, sort of idea. Star Wars Episode 3, perfect example of that, right? Got a vision, fought tooth and nail against the vision, and by doing so created the vision. It's usually one of those. It's one of those, the Ouroboros sort of idea, right? And it's irony, it's tragic, but it works. It does work. It's been done many times, but at least it works. Then you have the stories where you have the future can be changed. The future isn't set. And I've already gone over this in that chapter, but in that big long chapter rant. The problem is, I forget exactly which chapter number, but it was when they were talking all the visions. The problem here is that they literally say she's going to try to fight against fate. What this means is that Yona, of all people, who has actually been dismayed by these visions and taking them like a gospel, like a religious person believing in every word of the Bible, nothing's up for interpretation, everything is factual and at face value, right? Or I'm not going to criticize anybody's faith or religion or anything like that, try not to, but that's what it boils down to, is someone who takes scripture or something as gospel. This is fact and can never be changed. What's printed here is the way it is, and that's it, right? The issue here is that now we're saying that no, maybe she can fight against these visions. You can argue that's okay character development for Yona. Alright, she's only had these visions for a little while. It was a stupid addition to the story anyways. And if she's only been listening to one or two at best and they've led her to this point and now she fights against it. Once again, the vision also didn't show Hawk actually dying. What it showed was Hawk getting near death, being attacked. He's been at the brink of death's door 100 times in the story. So the vision didn't actually show his death. Just saying. And same with the vision where she's on the hill with the sword and stuff. Just because Hawk's not there doesn't mean that Hawk isn't alive either. See, the way people are interpreting these visions and dreams is also something left for debate. But the problem is that if we're supposed to take that every vision is factual, and on the surface, this is what's going to happen, you can't change fate, don't even try. It either makes Yona look stupid for trying, or it makes her mother look stupid for not trying enough to change anything. So either one or both of them ends up looking like an idiot. And that's my problem with it. And I think Yuhan was right to get rid of the church and the priests and stuff, because that shit all came from them. And if Yona proves that all that shit was crap, to believe in it and not to try to fight against fate and make your future with your own two hands and triumph, which is very much within the characters. It's like fight against your fate, White Snake. Fight against the hatred that people have of you, Shin-Ah. Come out of your cave and stuff like that. Zena, we're gonna try to help you and stuff. All the journeys, Yona, from her huge character development, all of the main cast has been about growing outside of their comfort zone, growing outside of their shell, and seizing the day, seizing the moment with their own two hands, and not waiting on the sidelines for something to be fixed for you, but to do it with the help and support of your friends and your family and all these things. It's a great message to have, and it gets sullied, if she doesn't change fate, she took too much faith in her visions, or her mother really didn't try. So, that's my biggest, as I said, I'll stop there because, I can just keep running in circles about that. But yeah, the whole vision thing was a mistake to give Yona the visions in the first place. This could all be solved by Kashi had visions. Yes, the future that she saw was unable to be changed, and the future seeing died with her. And we could say, yeah, maybe the future can be changed, maybe it can't. We don't know what she attempted. We don't know how she tried to fix it. Seems like she went along with her visions incredibly easily and just accepted fate. When she saw something in a dream, she just accepted that that's the way the world was and never fought against that. That's the way we're supposed to take it anyways. So, yeah. It just depends on what happens here. And once again, Yona is sort of jumping the gun with her own visions, believing, just like the community does, believing that because Hawk wasn't in the sword, the standing on the hill with the sword, that Hawk's dead. And she took to believe that when she said, I saw Hawk die. No, you saw Hawk get extremely heavily wounded. You didn't see him actually die. Were you at his funeral in a vision? You know, that would be something. And even then you could say, oh no, he faked his death or something. You know, there's always a way around looking at something from a different angle. But the way the characters have been perceiving these visions as facts is, I think, part of the issue as well. But either way, I still really like the chapter. That last part, once again, up for interpretation a little bit there. And once again, the other part about the cup. Maybe, once again, we didn't see the cup. Zeno claims to have the cup. Maybe he doesn't. We don't know yet. So, yeah, other than that, I thought the chapter was really good. I like the direction that they're going. The conversation between Zeno, Yona, and Hawk. It's a very good dynamic right now. Hawk's little speech there about the 3 dragons, like, come back and give me a hand with Zeno here, guys. Like, you know, I can fight him all day, but really, I'd really like a little bit more help here. I want some support, you know what I mean? So, and that he sucks at forgetting, sucks at letting go, and all that stuff. Very in character for Hawk as well. So, anyways, that was chapter 259. Sorry for the that it was still, once again, a little late. Not as late as last chapter review or reaction. But, yeah, chapter 259. Stay tuned for chapter 260. I really have no idea what's going to happen. I really hope it doesn't end up with, you know, Lily and everybody showing up, and maybe Zeno ends up going, well, if I have to kill somebody to make you take me seriously and end my life, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to desperately do anything he can to have Yona pick up Hiryu's sword and stab him. And if it results in anybody there, Mundok, Lily, you know, Oji, anybody, you know, getting hurt, Yona's going to have to make a choice. And I can see that coming a mile away, where the guard saw the dragon burst out of the, you know, castle. I hope it's not what goes down, but we'll have to wait and see. And it might not even go down until the following chapter. It might not happen until chapter 261 or something. We just don't know. But anyways, that's from me, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, another lengthy review from yours truly. We'll see you guys back here next time for chapter 260. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, I'm not re-recording that. I get tongue-tied sometimes. But yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys back here next time. Sayonara.